birthday.
Can you rap for me?
Oh.
One.
Mm-hmm. Can't be fucked.
Why?
Can't be fucked.
Please. Please.
What am I gonna sing about?
Whatever you want, go.
Mm-hmm. You know I deserve this, preserve this. Even the birds agree. I've never seen or heard of Jesus absurd as me. I'm afraid he's flipping through entrepreneur and I'm causing third degrees to the G's. Try to be like me and the birds agrees. I'm just confirming these. I'm like an urban G, bourbon G's. I'm burning G's. I got the words based on the burning me. So I keep on serving G's nowadays. Getting hot in the third degree. You're bourbon G's. Because I'm getting hot in the Harry Potter nowadays. Getting hot in the fourth degrees. I'm flying north to sea. Of course, you know, remorse to me. Of course I got divorced to sea. Because Mike's wife was a bitch.
Nice.
So I keep on serving G's. True, eh? If you ask the birds and bees, I'm going to tell you that I'm a humble G. Bird of the bumble bumble.
A hidden gem exists deep within the underground rap scene of Melbourne, Australia. That gem is 42-year-old Raed Melki, a Lebanese-Australian rapper and movie director that started his career roughly sometime during the 90s. He also goes by the rap name R.A.E.D, an abbreviation of his name, which stands for Rhythm, Artist, Eternal, Destiny. Raed started during a time where all odds were against him. As an Arabic rapper in the early 2000s, he would find difficulty in portraying himself as a serious act, considering that most Arabic rappers of this time were either few in numbers or a work of comedy, such as Sacha Baron Cohen's character, Ali G.
The brain's memory is perfect.
So how come I can't remember my PIN number?
Well,
I think it's got like a 4 in it.
I could give you a quick answer and say you're stupid.
Despite this, Raed would continue to push against the resistance for many years to come and cement himself on the internet as one of the most bizarre, outlandish people to lay eyes upon. Before seriously entering the rap world, Raed Melki first found himself slinging ecstasy to make a living. According to a Vice article and Raed himself during his interview with Sneaky TV, he claims to have sold some of the best MDMA before being caught by the cops and arrested for trafficking of drugs.
It was no secret, man. It's all over the net. Like, I was trafficking ecstasy for a 3-year period. They busted me. Did the best batch I ever had of ecstasy. At the time, I had a batch of Mickey Mouse. It was large, pure MD pills, man. They get you off your fucking head, man.
At some point in his younger years, Raed's older brother dies from a drug overdose, and his father takes his own life.
Dude, I was 13, 14 years old when my older brother passed away on heroin. He ended up ODing, dealing with that at the age of 13, 14, and your dad tries to pop a lot of pills, commit suicide once or twice. These little things, man, become big things, and these big things become your life. And it's a struggle, they call it. Dealing with it is unexplainable, man. And then you're with your father, then he passes away within the same 4 or 5 year period. It's a different struggle completely. Because he's your best friend, man. So like, these 2 deaths in the family would put you on a different level. The latest track on the Cool Freaky album, there's a track, it's called Imagine That. I bought some methylated spirits, what do they call them? Crystal meth. And I smoked an 8-ball minus 4 points, probably like 28 points or something like that. I was up for like 7 days.
This, alongside the copious amount of drugs that Raed has consumed, are probably the main factors that contribute to his mental illnesses that makes his work stand out. Raed would start off as a pretty typical up-and-coming rapper with a style that you probably wouldn't pay much attention to upon listening to an early track. He posted his first ever track on July 16th, 2015, which he informs listeners in the beginning that it's over 11 years old.
Back in the earlier days, it was a man by the name Jesus, type of guy would walk mountains of sand just to get to your homeland. But who never did the best? I can't understand why they nailed him to a cross. Left him for dead, he was flossing while lots were tossing. Did they do it?
The track sounds fairly normal, and Raed himself is pretty clear and coherent in his vocal delivery. This type of sound would not stick for long, however, and something of unpredictable and hellish qualities would come along in the writing of Raed's future music. In 2001, Raed gains a plethora of controversial attention after stalking the founder of Mushroom Records, Michael Gudinski. Gudinski would file a restraining order against Raed after being sent a box containing a video. When asked what was on the video, Raed would say that the contents were quite entertaining and that it contained goosebumps, and simply kept his answer vague.
What else was in the box?
The video and the CD. The video is quite entertaining, man.
What was on the video?
Entertainment, man.
What?
I don't know what is what, but we know what is what. What the fuck? We just struck. Goosebumps.
What was on that?
Goosebumps.
What was on the video?
What a goosebumps. It caused him that fucking goosebumps, man. I didn't plan on a front page. I didn't think about a front page. I wasn't thinking media. I wasn't thinking fame. I was thinking a record deal. Gudinski knows like a freak when he sees one.
Raed also has a moment of infamy around this period, where he'd create a bomb hoax at the Crown Casino, demand hot chocolate, and freestyle rapped the bomb squad when they arrived.
You're that guy that I heard of. You held the hostages under siege at the casino.
So far, it would appear that Raed is on the path to certain chaos. His persistence in rapping before, during, and after his hard times, which consisted of drug abuse, family death, ridicule, and a variety of other things going against him, would forge an entirely new rap sound that would be unheard of. Raed creates a MySpace page to show off his raps. His bio comes off as a bizarre-sounding freestyle and has no real information about him. It reads, quote, "I'm off the grid, fuck the compass off, I don't need an accomplice, my songs bliss up a storm and twist up a massive situation that you have yet to ever come across. So tell your boss to go fuck himself, 'cause it's cost a lot, his lost a lot, and no need to keep this thing anonymous. The Don, this I told you from the many decades ago, many more to come. I be the number one, underground freak till the overweak, underweak side weeks, the tide peaks out tonight, the real true maintain. I did so I got this covered, and back to back from the very start, I still be here. When the sun starts to rise, and I told you motherfuckers that I still be here when the full moon comes up, man." End quote. Although I couldn't find the entirety of Raed's discography, I managed to find a few albums of his on Spotify, the oldest one being It's Too Late to Pray, which released in 2010. This album would showcase an extremely odd, avant-garde sound that was nothing like his first ever rap track. Some of the tracks would include music videos he'd upload to YouTube, which only gave more of a hellish image to already hellish music, particularly in the track titled I Don't Care Who You Are, which would be 4 minutes and 30 seconds of manic, discombobulated sounds with visuals to match.
So many city hoes, war, so I guess it's time for ditches and gags. So many bitches are mad, but I'm thinking to be a little mad sometimes. But I guess that time has come to deconfuse the group a little. Let's go do. And while I do this, tell these bitches from the group a little story or two. Yeah, I can see the bitches clean, but maybe the reason's coming through. That's why they scream me true. So I guess they done me wrong. Can't get down the way.
In 2014, Raed releases a movie by the name of Still Flowin', which he is credited as the director, writer, and executive producer, as well as funding the film entirely by himself. The movie is free to watch on his channel and is a biopic that showcases his life story from rags to less tattered rags in a way that is somewhat twisted to give it a more entertaining narrative, something which unfortunately can't be fully appreciated, considering that many of the scenes are too quiet, or the characters will mumble through their scripts, making it almost impossible to understand them and the direction of the story.
What happened? What brings you down here, bro?
Not much, man.
What, are you going to run from the law or something?
Nah, man.
Let it be with your missus.
Nah, I just driving bird in the car breakdown.
The film starts off with a corporation looking to take Raed down, with the following scene showing a police officer explaining to Raed that Michael Gudinski of Mushroom Records has filed a restraining order on him that he must sign.
Mr. Gudinski has been granted an intervention order by the Victorian Magistrates Court. No, Mr. Gudinski has been granted an intervention order by the Victorian Magistrates Court preventing yourself from contacting him verbally or coming within 250 metres of this person. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all good.
He's actually taken out an intervention order. Do you understand?
It's all good.
Good. Could you sign a copy of the receipt of the order for me, sir?
Yep. Gudinski, huh?
The film continues with showcasing Raed's feud with opposing rap forces.
Please give me one chance, bro. Give me one gig, bro. It's not gonna happen. I don't know. Just get rid of music. The fuck you looking at, you bitch? Don't call me a bitch. You are a bitch, man.
Everyone, go inside.
His friendships and social life.
Bro, how do you kill two Jews? Bro, throw a penny in between them.
Yeah, and why aren't you going home, man? What's the difference between the Arab and E.T.? Like, E.T. went home.
A drunken hitman looking to take him out, and his bond with a new girl in his life. A long, drawn-out scene in particular shows Raed's car breaking down on the side of the road, where he then gets out, travels the Australian countryside on foot, comes across a couple of campers with an offering of psychedelic kangaroo blood, and then he finally returns back to his car the next morning to realize it starts miraculously working again. One scene would show what I assume is Raed having a schizophrenic episode in his living room, where he walks back and forth as echoing voices overpower him. And he disregards his medical diagnosis records that he finds in the garage.
Depression. The fuck are they on about, bro? What are you guys on, man? Diagnosis. Doctor diagnosis. Gonna go fucking give him a higher fluosis. Fuck.
He later ends up finding his haters from earlier and proceeds to tell him that he's R.A.E. to the motherfucking D.
What? R.A.E.D. The motherfucking D, man. The motherfucking D. R.A.E. to the motherfucking R.A.E.D. R.A.E. to the motherfucking D. R.A.E. to the motherfucking D. Louder, bro. R.A.D. to the motherfucking D. No, bro. R.A.E. to the motherfucking D. R.A.E.D. to the motherfucking D. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
He once again dodges a couple more assassination attempts from the drunken hitman, and things finally come full circle when he confronts the head of the corporation that schemed to bring him down. He demands a large sum of money, with his bank account details then displayed on screen directly after. The movie ends with Raed being confronted one last time by the opposing force, and Raed responds with one last rap where he sings his song, "You Better Leave Now," which after hearing, his arch-nemesis feels defeated and leaves the club.
You gonna get stopped by my ladies, they pretty ladies and know that I like you. You better leave now, yeah. You better leave now, 'cause you can't stop and you know that.
These are some of the only scenes I managed to understand and get some sort of coherent story out of. The music of R.A.E.D would continue to be released almost yearly, and with each new release would show off a sound that digs itself further into a hole of wild, intoxicating sounds. Many of these tracks off of newer albums would continue the trend of releasing alongside a music video, and such as before, would come off as very bizarre and would grab the attention of people, many of which would criticize R.A.E.D as one of the worst rappers of all time. In 2019, R.A.E.D would temporarily disappear from posting anything on the internet. A concerned poster on Reddit asked the whereabouts of R.A.E.D, which he would receive a reply claiming that R.A.E.D has been found guilty of stealing tools from a motor vehicle in the suburb of Chadstone, and was currently serving a prison sentence. Later in the year, R.A.E.D is released and goes back to work on his music. His next album, Time Extension, is set to release on Christmas 2020. Most of R.A.E.D's current work can be viewed on his channel, and a decade of random clips can be enjoyed where he goes on to speak about random things or do random things.
Seems to be repeating myself, speaking myself, man. Speaking myself, man. Beating myself, beating, trying to beat him, and see with that.
As interesting as his life has appeared up until this point, finding more details on R.A.E.D's personal life is a pretty hard thing to come across. And even if details are dug up, the bizarre and schizophrenic nature of R.A.E.D makes it impossible to decipher anything that's going on. His Facebook posts are cryptic and nonsensical, such as 3 posts on November 5th, 2020, that are posted all within 3 minutes, where he says, quote, "Now you see me, now you don't. How you can see me, now you won't. Some cows can be free, but wow, who cares? No worries, here comes the next one." And, "But everything you're hearing was recorded before the grand finale." End quote. The life of R.A.E.D is probably the most incoherent and confusing thing that I've had the pleasure to learn about. And despite his frequent posting on social media and documentaries about him, it's hard to pull any more information out of him, and it seems as though that his movie would probably be the richest source of history to take from, albeit the majority of it being exaggerated and fictionalized. At 42 years old, he continues to make progress in the Melbourne rap scene and releases music for his small cult following. R.A.E.D may have never truly struck gold through all of his endeavors, but the dedication to his craft is fascinating, and there seems to be no end in sight.